Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I want to start today's luncheon with a big thank you for all that each and every one of you do to make this city the great city that it is, and for being a part of keeping our city the quality city that exists today, where we all choose to live, play, and work. As a city, as a council, as a mayor, quality of life is our top priority. Quality of life certainly means something different for everyone, but for a city, our responsibilities continually are to invest back in the infrastructure and public safety. We just talked about the rainfall that we received over the past 2 weeks. Up until that rainfall, San Angelo only had a 37-month supply of water. Now that's more than we've had in past generations, but we know with the heat and with the drought, water disappears quickly out of Lake Nasworthy. And so what we want to do is to continue to talk about water. A gentleman named Doug Griffith wrote a book called 13 Ways to Kill a Community. Chapter 1 was called Don't Have Water. Well, San Angelo, we have water. We just completed the 20th well at the Hickory Well Field and invested another $61 million in clear wells as well as treatment facilities so that when we need to, if we need to, we can pump 12 million gallons of water to the city of San Angelo. That well field was our success in getting water to the city during the worst winter storm we've ever had. Without it, we would have spent months trying to get water to every community, every area in this community. We have an up-and-coming Concho River water project, which will cost about $160 million. That dollar is primarily driven by needing a new facility, a new treatment facility, and we are about 4 to 5 years away from getting the permits to do that due to TCEQ requirements. In addition, we recently signed the West Texas Water Partnership with Abilene and with Midland. We have secured an additional 5,000 acres of water. We don't know the cost yet and we don't know the timeline, but what we do know is we have water. And Lake Nasworthy, our surface water, source of water, has just been secured because we have spent the money to ensure a second line of sewer is underneath that water, which basically means no leaks will happen from the sewer destroying that body of water. That will be a key part of our success moving forward, securing Lake Nasworthy as our surface water resource. What we know is you don't want to worry about where you're going to get water when you don't have water, and you don't want to worry about where you're going to get the money to pay for the water. Well, we have the money secured to help us develop the water resources for the future. And that is because you, as citizens, passed an ordinance that basically said 72% of the half-cent sales tax money must go towards water development. So when we need it, we have the water resources, and when we need it, we have the money resources to ensure that San Angelo has water. We are way ahead of surrounding communities and other cities in the state of Texas which are desperately looking for water resources. We were ahead of those communities and we have secured the water. Streets, quality of our city is reflected in the quality of our streets. Street preservation is one part of this project, and that has meant that we've put down 9 years of seal coat and HA5 to protect our streets at a $34 million cost. In 2023, we spent $24 million on our streets. In 2024, $27 million. And in the year 2025, we will spend an additional $34 million to ensure our streets reflect the quality of life that we believe you as citizens deserve. But we are not through yet. There's many streets that still need work done on them, and we will start in 2025 on Glenna and Howard Street. So if your street hasn't been done yet, just give us time. We're not through yet. Water and streets don't come cheap, so we must continue to grow our revenue. Our general revenue funds come from two areas, certainly sales tax receipts. And in 2024, our sales tax receipts were only up 1.6% over the previous year. Now you know that 1.6% is lower than inflation, so it won't cover the costs, increasing costs of doing many of these projects. The good news is if you take a look at our performance compared to our sister cities, you'll see that our performance is greater than our sister cities. So we know that what we have to do is to continue to invest back in our city to get these sales tax dollars up. Even though we had the 1.6% increase in our sales tax dollars, what's important to do is to look at what those sales tax dollars mean to us compared to our competitive cities. Our sales tax dollars in 2024, including the COSA DC funds, were $37,197,000 compared to Abilene's $59,863,000. They're 60% greater in sales tax revenue than the city of San Angelo. If you take a look at the location of these cities, Abilene, Midland, Odessa, Wichita Falls, and certainly the state of Texas, one common denominator exists. It's called, guess what? Interstate. We're the only city, 100,000 population city, without an interstate. Interstate drives sales tax increases as well as property tax increases. Our property tax dollars are at $7.7 billion, and that is with $117.7 million more dollars added to the base of our property tax dollars. We continually are trying to find ways to reduce the impact on residential, but with that, where our residential still means the most important number, and that is they represent 67% of our total property tax dollars. So that means we need to continue to look on increasing our commercial and our industrial aspects of economic development. But we must grow our revenue through economic development and focusing on a strategic plan of maximizing our assets. I think we have a video to show. thank you, Michael Looney and Mike Berry and the Chamber of Commerce for putting together that video. I think it highlights and really showcases this city in a way that many of us don't see. That's what drones are good for, and I'm proud of what this video shows in terms of who we are as a community. I will repeat, we must grow our revenue through economic development and focusing on a strategic plan of maximizing our assets through public-private partnerships and using the city's assets, not the city's revenue. You're going to help me with this one. It goes planes, trains, and automobiles. That didn't sound very loud. It's like you don't know what we're talking about. Let's do it again. Planes, trains, and automobiles. A transportation and a logistic plan for economic growth and development. Let's start by talking about planes. The city owns Mathis Field and all the land and all the assets that are out there. But it was really underutilized in terms of the potential we had out there because we have clear skies and few commercial airlines that fly in and out. Ranger Aviation just celebrated 50 years of operation at Mathis Field. In addition, we just did a ribbon cutting to open up the new San Angelo Jet Center. And that was through a private-public partnership, both of those. The most recent one is with Brian and Blake Vincent, there you go, sorry, as well as Lloyd Norris and Jared White. If you haven't seen it, it really is a great statement about what we think the future will bring. And what they did with a historic hangar is absolutely spectacular. But part of that San Angelo Jet Center is to support ASU's pilot program. The initial year brought in about 17 interested people in becoming future-ready pilots. In spring 2025, we think there will be 198 pilots, from 17 to 198 in a short 2.5-year window. And next to it is a new training facility as a partnership with COSA DC. And that facility will open mid-January for classes to begin the end of January. In addition to that, we just got permission from the FAA for the mixture that we needed to extend the taxiway out at the airport. And why did we want to extend the taxiway? Because we know there's huge opportunity in building hangars. And up until now, we were not able to really put in any new hangars at the airport. So that will go out to the public for a bid, and hopefully we'll start work on that taxi lane in about mid-spring. 30 new hangars will be able to be built, and it's been a big need and a big request from fellow pilots in the city of San Angelo, as well as the surrounding communities. Howard College in fall of 2025 anticipates opening up an airplane mechanics school. And what you need to know about an airplane mechanics school is if you train them to work on airplanes, they also can work on elevators and escalators. And if you have an elevator in your building, you know how difficult it is to get someone in San Angelo to work on that elevator. So that will be a big bonus to us in this community. All these projects are public-private partnerships using the city's property, our assets, that have been underdeveloped and have not been maximized over decades. We must continue to look at what we own as resources, what can be utilized for future product development and economic development. Trains, our rail port. We started with 183 acres of empty land purchased by COSA DC in partnership with Shad Weisner. And today, that rail park has 10,000 feet of usable track, 2,000 feet under construction. 2 structures have been built for office and for crew, a heavy truck scale with a accompanying office building, and 3-phase electrical put in by AUP so it crosses over 50th Street. Australian Rock has established a permanent facility at the rail park, and they are in the works of negotiating a 250 steel rail car project, as well as a wind energy company using the rail park. But the impact of that rail park will really come alive in the late summer or fall of 2025, because that's when the Customs and Border Patrol building at Presidio should open, which will mean trains coming in from Mexico to Fort Stockton to San Angelo, Texas. We will see tremendous impact in manufacturing and warehousing when that rail park is fully utilized. We've talked about planes, we've talked about trains, now let's talk about automobiles, which is really a two-part strategy. First of all, obviously for the citizens and all of you sitting here, street infrastructure is number one. And we have spent the past 7.5 years to improving the streets of San Angelo, Texas, so that you're proud to drive on our streets and are not embarrassed by the quality of the streets that existed. But most important is the conversation about interstates. We have been approved by 2 federally designated interstates, I-27 and I-14. We also got approved in legislation to actually call I-27 I-27. We've called it that for generations. The reality is, until it's in a piece of legislation and approved, it's not a legitimate number. It is a legitimate number, and in January we will put up our first I-27 sign 4.2 miles south of Lubbock, where the interstate starts on its way to Amarillo. People will say, well, you know, I'll never see it in my lifetime, but you will see the impact of that in your lifetime, because all the district engineers, 5 of them, all have projects that they are working on that will become a part of this future I-27 interstate. And for San Angelo, that means work being done on our northern and our southern reliever routes. This is key to how the interstate will be built. It will be a combination of highway going from 2-lane passing lane to 4-lane, 4-lane to 4-lane divided, 4-lane divided to 4-lane divided with frontage roads. It is a process, and it's how all of the interstates that we drive on today were built. The original interstate during the Eisenhower time period was expected to take 10 years. I think it took about 50 years to complete it. It won't happen overnight, but let me tell you what, it's going to happen, and it will have a major positive impact on the city's ability to grow and to continue to provide the quality of life the citizens so deserve. And guess what? If it hadn't have been for our planes, trains, and automobile transportation logistics strategy, Amazon wouldn't have looked at us as a city. They looked at us because Michael Berry and Michael Looney had the opportunity to explain our logistics plan, and they became quite interested in San Angelo as a place to do business. And they too, at conferences, talk about planes, trains, and automobiles. Everyone understands the importance of transportation. It will open in December 2024, 35,000 square feet of space. And when you have Amazon, you'll have other businesses looking to develop properties close by, nearby, whether it's in our industrial park or some other location in San Angelo. Having Amazon in San Angelo, Texas is a major achievement for this city. When we talk about maximizing our assets, it's the assets that we own, that we haven't invested in, that are really good quality of life assets. And the first one, of course, is Lake Nasworthy, a very important recreational facility that brings people into San Angelo with their boats. It's a wonderful addition to the quality of life here for our Goodfellow Air Force people and for our local citizens. And with that $44 million sewer project, what we were able to do is to protect the Lake Nasworthy water. But in addition, we received another grant, which will allow us to do the following: update 5 boat ramps, add 3 non-motorized launching pads for kayaks. It is also opening the door for development at the lake. There's already been announced 1 new restaurant that will open up in summer of 2025, It's just one of many who are asking questions from our planning department about what they might be able to do at the lake. Sewer capacity is going to allow for development of that lake, from housing to restaurants, perhaps hotels, and any other creative ideas that will benefit the city of San Angelo, Texas. Parks, again, private-public partnerships. All of the things that we talked about as it relates to Lake Nasworthy is also about private-public partnerships using our assets to add quality of life to this city. Thanks to Altex, who came up with a strategic plan of a private-public partnership by donating money, resources to the city of San Angelo to put in our first splash pad, which we christened, if you will, in summer of 2024. That splash pad has been at capacity since the day we cut the red ribbon. And the good news is we're going to cut another red ribbon at Kirby Park with the second splash pad. These projects are also in joint cooperation with the Area Foundation, who has worked with the city and Altex to find the additional resources, money, as you will, to make these splash pads happen. The 29th Sports Street Complex, I know you've been waiting for this. Well, that will open or start work on it sometime in spring 2025. The Mountain View Park, a joint partnership with ADAC, who applied for a grant to put in new playground equipment, which benefits the citizens who use that park. And our military plaza, honoring all of our military, will start work again in spring 2025 and will enhance another area of our city in honor of all those who have served. Next Level has made a magnificent difference in terms of the College Hills Park area, and they've added an additional 2 pickleballs this spring season. But in addition to that, pickleball, which is the up-and-coming hottest sport that's out there, Smashers, a family who is investing over $5 million to create an indoor facility for tennis as well as pickleball, and then they will also have outdoor facilities as well. You know that red barn out at the Coliseum? It's now the Blue Barn. You know why it's the Blue Barn? Because we leased it to ASU. So blue, you know, ASU, blue. And so it's now the Blue Barn, and it enhances their rodeo program, which has been a great success story in itself. Historic downtown, the centerpiece, the living room, the heart of our city. It is about our great beginnings. The River Stage, which had not had any improvement in almost 30 years, will start work in spring season, adding improved seating, lighting, ramps, bathrooms, and concession. In addition, the historic downtown area received a wonderful addition streetscape program. We finished the first part of it. We will start in spring 2025, completing that streetscape program that will go all the way up to the transit facility. But what's really made that come alive as well is Art in Uncommon Places. This organization has had a significant impact on our ability to be called the Visual Arts Capital of the city of San Angelo. And they installed a $1.1 million art installation honoring all of our history, our cowboy legacy, our farming and ranching community, and we are so proud of the work and the artwork that has been placed. It adds such another dimension to our city. San Angelo is lucky to have Julie Raymond and her group in this city because they raise the funds, they create the art, they install the art, and they continue to make us proud of being called the Visual Arts Capital of Texas. Jeremy Bartz announced at his presentation 2 weeks ago, I believe, that we were selected as a People's Choice Award in the state of Texas for the Visual Arts Capital. And that was based off of social media posts. So when you see the art, what's important is people are taking pictures of themselves and their family in front of these art installations and posting them on social media. This brings tremendous amount of interest to our city. And I could not be more proud of the work and effort of Arts in Common Places. And long awaited, the Roosevelt Hotel will open in the summer or early fall. $12 million later, historic tax credits, that building will come alive. It will provide housing for downtown, and is one of many projects that we hope to encourage investment in. So we go from 147 vacant buildings 10 years ago to just 47 today. The progress is unbelievable. People come to visit cities not because of new buildings. They come to visit because of old buildings. How many of you travel to Europe? What do you go see? Old buildings. That's what people are interested in. And San Angelo, in this region, is well known for their historic redevelopment efforts and the preservation of our history. Which leads me to Fort Concho. We're proud of the Buffalo Soldiers Plaza, and again, with participation from a private-public partnership, the Area Foundation, it has created a whole story of the Buffalo Soldiers. But we also, late this year, will be doing a ribbon cutting to open up the 2 new large buildings built at Fort Concho, that if you look at it, you will not know the difference between the old and the new. They're magnificent, and they will house a tremendous library of old books, photographs, etc. I can't wait to see the impact on Fort Concho. We can't talk about San Angelo, Texas, and maximizing our assets without talking about Goodfellow Air Force Base. They still remain the single largest employer in this city, and I am so proud of our citizens for all the things they do for Goodfellow, from buying them free lunches to thanking them for their service. Goodfellow makes a $3.2 billion impact on the state of Texas. It's important, but for all of us here, what makes it even more important? National security. What they do at that base provides tremendous amount of impact in terms of national security. We might be a small base compared to the rest of the bases in the United States, but what we do is so significant. Housing. You can't have quality of life without good housing, and one of the biggest challenges in the past has been a lack of construction trades, people coming up. And so Howard College once again stepped up and worked with the HBA to create a construction trades building, to teach a young kid about how you build a building. In addition, they applied for a $400,000 grant from Lowe's, received it, and that building will have a ribbon cutting in December, which will focus on plumbing and electrical. Many of the builders in this city, I don't want to say are aging out, but they are aging out, and we need new young folks to help us continue the development in the building in this community. We must focus on a skilled workforce, a future-ready workforce. And what's happening at SAISD, at ASU, at Howard College is really focusing on what the future looks like in terms of workforce. We must be ready. Our staff, our kids, our young folks need to know the skills they need to have a future in America's economy. And if they want to live here in San Angelo, they don't want to leave San Angelo, they need the work skills to be able to be employed and be able to be paid something above minimum wage. We need to make sure they get a living wage. The Amazon facility, their wages start at $18 an hour. They go up to $28. We need more of companies coming here and knowing that we've got the workforce to support their needs for growth. When I ran for mayor, I talked a lot about cutting the red tape. Easier said than done, but I am so proud of Aaron Vonay and the leadership that he has shown in the city of San Angelo. He's worked to simplify. He's worked to be more customer friendly, no closed doors. You want to talk to him, he's available. And we've also paid for some additional computer software that will allow for more efficiencies in the planning department. This year alone, we're projected to open up another 228 houses. That's a lot of work for a planning department to approve. But Aaron Vinay has made such a difference since we have promoted him to the planning director, and I'm so proud of his work and effort. And all of those red ribbons that we talked about, Asher Rogers from the Chamber has done 75 ribbon cuttings for new businesses, existing businesses, and anniversary of businesses. Thank you, Asher, for that work and effort. You can't talk about quality of life without talking about public safety. Quality of life issue is about public safety. Over 60% of our revenue, you take all of our property tax dollars, over 44 million of it, and 9 million of our sales tax dollars of 25 million, that's what it takes to support our police and our fire. We've spent the money to ensure that public safety is a key priority. Chief Brody has done a great job leading our fire department. We have purchased 3 new fire trucks this year. But one of the issues he's dealing with is that it has been the highest volume year for calls. Over 17,385 calls have come into the fire department. Over 12,000 of those are for EMS services. That's a lot of phones ringing. Our plans for a new fire station, we've purchased the land or in the process of purchasing the land to maintain our 1 ISO rating. And that means insurance rates will stay lower than they would have. I don't think anybody thinks insurance rates are low, but with that being said, we need to do what we can as a city to keep them low. And TIFMAS, that's where we use our people, our trucks, our emergency services to support other communities when they need fire protection. Our police, under the leadership of newly elected Chief Travis Griffith, he is focused on technology and upgrades to equipment. We signed a contract with Exxon, which is a $3.7 million investment into new technology. New body-worn cameras, technology, license plate readers, and advanced taser system. You don't want to be caught in a taser being used on these new taser systems. They're pretty good. And they also applied for a COPS technology grant, which has allowed for mobile data computers in all of the cars and replacement of police radios. A key strategy is to serve our community more effectively and safely through technology. Our success as a community will depend on how well we sell this community. We, the city, city council, the mayor, and all of you sitting out here. Our success as a community will depend on your involvement, your investment back into the place we call home, San Angelo. Thank you, San Angelo, for being here today and being so supportive of what's happening in the city of San Angelo.